Isn't that just a really nice view? Just overlooking the city. We're in the suburbs, actually, just the direct outskirts of the city, but that's just a really nice view. Welcome to the video. Glad you guys could tune in. Today we're going to be doing a Minecraft world tour on this map that I've been working on for since 2013. Yeah, it just turned 12 years old this year, which is insane. So, block by block, no mods, no world edit, just classic Minecraft building. And I'm going to be giving you guys an in-depth tour of everything that's been built on this world. And after 12 years, it's still not finished. But I do plan on finishing it, and I work on this map just about every single day. After this tour video, it would be really cool to upload some time lapses or some let's play videos of the new things that we got going on in this city. But before we do that, I want to catch everybody up on where we are. So, as I said, we're in the outskirts of town, just the immediate suburbs. This area we're in is called Eastside, and we have the high school right there. This is an apartment complex I'm standing on. They got a nice green roof, outstanding views, like I mentioned. And if you live here, you basically got a free ticket to every single football game. So that's one of the cool aspects about this building when I was designing it and putting it together. Highlighting the views, but also highlighting the view of the football field as well. So we can go ahead and there's a jukebox here. It's Chirp and Cat, some classics. This building, there's really nothing special on the interior. Got a painting here. There's nothing special. I don't even know. Okay, so there's some furniture on the inside, but it's basic interior. So we're not going to spend too much time looking at the interior of this building, and there's going to be some buildings like that where we might just briefly go in to take a look. Other ones are a bit more filled in interior-wise, so we'll make sure to stop and take a look at those. But this kind of gives you an exterior look at this building. You kind of see through the windows there of the individual units. This would be a nice place to live, for sure. And football field right over here. You can kind of peer through the fence. Let's go in here. This is the visitors bleachers on this side. You got a decent view here of the field. It's called Crosby Field. Kind of a little inside joke Easter egg. We have a track around this right now, but what I plan on doing is actually eliminating this track. Just making it all a football field. Because this main field is slightly out of scale, and I want to make sure that it's more accurate with the scale around it. Ideally, we'd like a track, but I just don't think there's enough room to fit one here. This is the home bleachers over here, and it's connected with this big pedestrian bridge, and honestly, it just seems like it never ends when you're going down this. But yeah, it's a really cool spot. I mean, maybe you're starting to walk down towards here and you just decide to stand here and watch the game from inside the pedestrian bridge, which is kind of what I had in mind. I think what would enhance it is like making little lookout spaces, little parts that jut out that like try to prioritize and try to encourage people to stop and just watch the game for a moment before returning to the seat. That's something that I want to add. But yeah, you can see it connects to the visitors bleachers. Has some tents here. Don't really have any detail, but this would be some kind of concessions you would have here. Just like people coming in, like businesses selling their hot dogs and whatnot. maybe selling some school merch up here as well. But yeah, so you continue off the Sky Bridge. This connects us down directly to Eastside High School, which is a look here. This is the loading docks for the cafeteria. You can see these roads are a bit rough. East side, like in the lower of the city, it's a nice suburb, but they're revitalizing it. They're in the process of revitalizing it, making it better. So that's why you have this really nice school and not so nice roads, which is pretty realistic to real life. But here's the sign, York City Eastside High School. York City is the main name of the city. Got the school flag right here, and this is also the fictitious nation flag of this map. It's called the United Sovereignty, which is a playoff of the United States. But yeah, let's go in and check this one out. I actually did a lot of detail to the interior. I wouldn't say it's 100% finished, but there definitely is some stuff to look at. This is the main library. Pretty humble. There is an enchantment table and nothing in that chest. This high school is based off of the real life high school I went to, and so a lot of it is heavily inspired. It is not a replica by any means, but there's definitely a lot of hues and similarities that hint to the real thing. This is the principal's office, no desk. Okay, like I said, the interior's not 100% finished. That's going to be a reoccurring theme. This is the guidance office. So all of this, we have the library and the administrative wing of the high school. And we can continue down this way. And we have another wing that's branching off the school here. First off, this is room 101, and it's just a big maintenance closet. You kind of see the redstone above. It's all wired up. You can turn the lights on and off, which is a cool aspect. But you take this ladder down here, opens up to this secret theater down here. And the reason why this is here is because this is the original room of the initial high school that was built here way back in like 2015. So I remodeled and revamped the school. Did not destroy it, I just remodeled it. But this is the last piece that's preserved, I guess. It may be incorporated into the school one day. As for now, it's just kind of a cool little hidden Easter egg. Can make our way out of there. Continue down this hall. We have some classrooms. These classrooms aren't filled in. You can see in there we have a secondary exit. This goes out to parking lot. And of course, these clocks are just so iconic. It's just reminiscent of American high schools. The hanging clocks. And you can see this brick that's exposed. This is like a piece from the original school that I just kept. You'll see that throughout. Same with right here. Just original pieces of the old school. We have a trophy case here. Just kind of a cool method to make trophies in Minecraft. Use a bell. And then below that is a decorated pot. And so they just kind of, you have to crouch, I believe. Let's see if I can get this. I don't even know how I got that in. I think you have to step up. I genuinely, okay. I think what you have to do this. You have to have a block above, and then you place it like that. Oh. But you have to have something on top. Otherwise it disappears, obviously. So yeah, you would have that there. And then you do the gold, and that's your trophy. And also, that's a good design for lamps as well. But yeah, trophy case. Keep going this way. Concessions, got the concession stand off right now. There's no games going on. This is like a big like athletic wing. We have the athletic department. Just a big open office area. We have locker room 1. We got the community showers. Locker 2 is exactly the same for the most part. And of course, we got some bathrooms. And a water fountain. These are supposed to be basketballs. This opens up. Man, this opens up into the gym. And you can see we got this really big basketball court in here. And these lights also turn on and off. This big extension here, it's cool because if there was a game going on, you could just pull up right up here, and it'd be cool. It'd be cool to watch a game from up here. You know, just a cool experience. I think there was a high school that I went to as a kid that had this exact thing. Thought it was interesting, so I decided to recreate that in Minecraft, but I believe in that school this hallway kept going straight into the classrooms, which would be something cool. Potentially, if we ever add on to this school, I would definitely incorporate something like that. But that's pretty much it for the gym. You head upstairs here. Of course, we got a maintenance closet 201. This ladder takes you all the way to the roof, and you can also see all the redstone work up here. In case something goes wrong, I can easily access it. We have some classrooms here. Got sociology classroom, accounting, and composition class. So you can imagine sitting back here. It's probably where I'd sit, at the very back of the room. You got that nice view of the skyline outside. It'd be hard to pay attention, if I'm being honest with you, with that view. But you can see how this hallway just kind of abruptly ends. And in architecture, you don't want to do that because it's actually a waste of space. So, for example, this classroom, you could have expanded the wall out to say here. They made the entry right there, right off the hall. So then you have all this extra space for this classroom. But the reason why it's like that is because this is set up for a future expansion of the school. So that's why the hallway just ends there. You'll see that a lot in high schools. The high school I went to as well did that, where there's a hallway that just abruptly ended like that. And it's because there's like a phase 2 of the project that just never got realized. But it is still open to being realized one day. And you can see this is where that hallway would come out. So all of this would be classrooms on top here that could be built. This is the cafeteria. Ceiling is a bit short, but it is nice. These are the loading docks we saw, and the freezer. We got some, looks like they're freezing some cakes in there. Yeah, so it was a fun build. It's fun building high schools and educational buildings in Minecraft. It's really fun. And then, of course, we have all the HVAC equipment on top. This is a big build. We did go in depth in this one, but in the efforts of time, we're probably gonna speed it up a little bit. But yeah, this is the big Eastside High School. Really fun build. Yeah, there's another high school that I'm building right now that we're gonna see This takes you outside of town. This curve was not particularly fun to do, but it is rewarding to see that. And this is just a little detail. The initial road curve that I had here, I didn't like it. It just didn't look natural. So I ended up coming back in after the fact and fixing the curve. And so when I fixed the curve, I gave it the black asphalt instead of the medium gray to show that this is like a new construction spot. Like they came in and added this, something you see in real cities where like you see the differentiation of asphalt colors on the roads. And it just tells a bit of the history. It just tells a bit of a story about what happened here. Like why is this a different color than this? So I wanted, so I add little elements like that, and you'll see throughout that relate to real life cities. This is Eastside Drive and Main Street. This is right here. This is Main Street, takes you right into the city. And here we have the big billboard, York City, founded March 2013. So again, 12-year-old city, definitely very old. Before we go into the main city, we're going to take a look at over here. This is some more lore of the city. I used to have these little Amtrak stations around. And you could just take mine carts around the map. And eventually kind of strayed away from that because I wanted to build a rail network that was more realistic in scale. And so I destroyed all these minecart paths. Or I guess they're not destroyed, they're still there, they're just buried underneath the city. But you'll see little Amtrak stations like that, where I call it Amtrak, like I said, but it's nowhere nearly as big. But this is one of those old stations, and instead of destroying it, I just show it buried in the dirt here. But you go in, got cobwebs everywhere. But yeah, it's just it just adds to the lore of the city. And that storytelling aspect, right? You always want to tell a story, especially in Minecraft. I see a lot, and I guess this is me kind of critiquing other cities that I see, especially the ones on, I don't mean to go on a rant, but a lot of the cities you see are simply just building to make something look cool. And while I do that, there's also a storyline behind everything that I do. Like I'm always thinking about, why would this building be here? What caused them to build this building here? What caused them to make this curve in the road instead of going straight? You know what I mean? You think about this storytelling, this real life storytelling, and it makes the city more realistic, as opposed to just creating a square grid system that isn't really telling a story. I do have custom signs, if you noticed. I made these on Illustrator and then I import them in. That is about the only mod I have, if you consider it that. Everything else is vanilla Minecraft. So this is the highway out of town. You can see we have these big signs here that telling you where you're going. So the York City Loop is a highway that I'm planning to build, circling the entire city, the entire metro area, and this would be the start of it, one of the starts of it. You continue on this big truss bridge, and you get a nice view looking outward. It's truly, I'm really big fan of this bridge. I think structurally it is pretty accurate to real life, and although nobody's probably going to notice any of this, I have like the girders and beams underneath. But it's just, I like doing little details like that, even if nobody notices or sees it. They're just fun to do. At least it gives me my own peace of mind at the end of the day, I guess. But you can see this continues, and this is going to break off into a big bay bridge. and connect over there. You can see that seawall over there. That's where the highway is going to be. And then this side of the highway is going to continue going straight. Ignore that. That's an experiment I tried to do. This highway is going to go straight. It's going to loop around and turn into like the main drag of this island. And if you've ever been to Panama City, Florida, this is a parody of Panama City. And so I'm creating a big artificial key right here. And that is where we're going to have like big condos and hotels here on the ocean side. So should be a really cool project. I just haven't had much inspiration to work on it recently, but it's definitely something I want to work on because it's really going to make this area come to life. Like, that's for sure. But yeah, that's kind of the plan for this highway area. And then throughout the video, you're going to see where this highway is going to link up to the rest of the city. These are old. These are really old buildings here. So I built this like probably 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. So the town's called Scootland. And I hate to destroy it because there's a lot of history here. And it really shows, you can really see from back then to now, how far this map has come. But I don't want to destroy this. I've thought about like submerging it underwater, and maybe it got flooded at one point and it's still there just to preserve the history, because I don't picture an island this close to this bridge. So that is the issue with that. Obviously, it's called Scootland because one time me and a friend of mine, we built scooters. So yeah, these were our scooters. And so just Scoot. So hence the name Scootland. But yeah, so just giant, larger than life scooters. And I hate to destroy these too because like they don't relate to the city theme at all, but it is a part of the history of the map, and don't want to destroy that history. This will be here forever. This is the old Outlook station. This is the only functional minecart line I have in my map still to this day. And you can see where all the lines converged into one. So it brought everybody here to this Outlook, which doesn't really make much practical sense, but it is cool. You see this old wooden bridge, and everything kind of converged into one. But you take the minecart here, and you overlook the ocean. And back then, nothing was here. It was just all ocean. And so you got a really nice, authentic view there. Yeah, that's some really old stuff. Right now, we're working on terraforming this mountain right here. And it's not technically a mod. This is all in vanilla Minecraft. But it has to do with this command block here. And I have a code here. I click on it. I don't want to show you the code, but yeah, there you go. So this is the code you use if you want to screenshot it and look at it. You use this code, and basically what it's doing is it's copying this block I have here, all of this cluster of blocks. And so whenever I get a fishing pole in my hand, I can just kind of fly around and move it, and it's like a brush. And it just paints all of this on here. So that's what I've been using to terraform this mountain. It's kind of like a mini Mount Chiliad in GTA. We even have a UFO up there. So that's what it's going to be, and it's going to probably about this tall. And then we're going to fill it with a bunch of pine trees all around it and just make it really lush and green. That's the plan there. These homes up here, they're probably going to be covered up by the mountain. I'm not going to destroy them, but they are very old homes. Again, probably 10 years old. And they don't necessarily match with everything I have going on here, but they're going to be covered up underneath the mountain, and it's just going to be kind of like that Easter egg of, this stuff was buried. Why was it buried? Maybe it was some kind of like government cover up. I don't know. But it just allows you to speculate what happened here, right? This is a kind of a upper middle class neighborhood I'm working on here. We have the bay right here, and obviously there's the truss bridge, and I'm pretty happy with these homes. They are very condensed, they're very tight, there's not much yard space, but this is what you would typically see in like an upper middle class neighborhood. No furniture, but I do have all the floors, all the rooms laid out. We got the garage here. Everything is laid out. I just don't have the furniture in. But you can see this is one of the bedrooms up here. The neighboring bedroom with the bathroom in there. So this one is a two bedroom, 3 bath because we have a guest. Or sorry, probably 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath. That's probably what it would be. I don't think I'm going to be putting a bathtub in there, but yeah. And then there is a view out on the porch. But again, small backyards, small yards. Thought about putting a hot tub out here. I think that'd be cool. But, at the end of the day, it is Minecraft. And so before building here, you see all this open green and you're like, yeah, that's plenty of space. But then once you start building it, you realize how small the space truly is. And so the neighboring house here is a little bit smaller, but it's the same amount of bathrooms and rooms. And then the house neighboring that one is going to be even smaller. So I got to be creative on that. But it's all going to be filled in here. We have a boat ramp coming down. You unload your boat into the bay. And this was inspired by Florida, Sarasota, Florida, I believe. Walking underneath the bridge, and I just remember people fishing, and there'd be pelicans like trying to steal people's fish. So I wanted to try to recreate that in here. A lot of what this map is like real life experiences that I've been on. I try to recreate in this world. So for me, every time I go on this world, it's a nostalgic experience because it's always bringing back all these memories of, what I did and everything like that, which is why I love this map so much. There is first off, we have these nice cherry trees that just kind of encapsulate this road. It's super, super cool, especially the leaves falling down. It's really nice. Pedestrian crossing sign, of course, and this is another spot where I'm kind of experimenting with the different color of dirt here, but this would be a spot where you would unload your boat into the lagoon. This is what I call this area. It doesn't really have a specific name. I just call it the lagoon, but maybe if you have a name suggestion, maybe we can name it. This is another neighborhood I'm working on. Just another like middle class neighborhood here, right off the side of the beach. And this is, I would say, a suburb of York City, but it is technically its own separate entity. This area would be called Ventosa Beach, and Ventosa in Latin means windy, I believe. You can fact check me on that, but that's why I named it Ventosa Beach, Windy Beach. So yeah, Ventosa Beach is this area. It's not like a heavily commercialized beach like you would find in Florida. This is more going to be kind of like California, like Venice Beach, where it's not like heavily commercialized with hotels and everything like that. It's pretty low density beach. So it's going to have that more intimate feel, whereas this one is the opposite. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, I guess. Since we're going through this way, we're going to kind of make our way around, and then we're going to make our way into the main city. I think that'll be better. I think because a lot of this stuff here on the outskirts is overlooked. It's just as cool, in my opinion, if not more cool than the main city. But this is here. What do we got? Federal property. No trespassing, violators will be prosecuted. So yeah, you do not want to enter here. They got it closed off, and it looks like just a big fallout zone, doesn't it? We got trash, piles of trash here, and discarded material. We have these vents, and what's this? We got another one of those Amtrak stations just buried underground here. So yeah, this is another part of the history. They buried this station. They didn't want this station exposed anymore. They buried it. And same with here. You take a look down here. We have an old freeway system. Believe it or not, this is how I used to design my freeways. This is all buried underground. And what it's doing is preserving the history, but also it would be conserving the history. And so instead of just preserving it as is, I'm conserving it, giving it a second life. Otherwise, it would just be sitting there doing nothing. It wouldn't be functioning. And so there used to be 2 skyscrapers right here, and an old friend of mine played on this map the beginning, and he was building like a rival city. But then, life happened. He stopped playing on the map. And so I was just stuck with these 2 skyscrapers in the middle of nowhere. And it was like that for the longest time. But then eventually I decided, why not make it look like an abandoned city that the government kind of intervened on and, took over. And so that's what all this is. I didn't destroy the buildings. They're all still intact. This building had like 20 floors. So this building now has 20 sublevels. All the levels, it goes all the way down to the bottom. The whole skyscraper is still here if you want to explore it. I don't even know how you get out of here. Oh, there we go. You can still explore the whole skyscraper. It still exists. But on the top floor, I just made it seem like, they just exploded the structure and the whole building just collapsed in on itself. And you can see this is kind of a structural term, but this is called punch and shear. Whenever you have the columns like punching through the floor plates, that's called punch and shear. And so I wanted to give that effect of like, the weight of each floor tumbling down and crashing on the next. And I think I did a decent job. I think, there's definitely people who do it better, but I'm happy with how this turned out. But yeah, so they shut down this old city. They turned it into kind of like I wouldn't necessarily say fallout zone because they didn't nuke it or anything, but they shut down the city. They destroyed these buildings. And then maybe they just stopped doing stuff with it. Maybe they're just like ran out of funding. They're like, you know what, we're just going to leave all this here just trashed. And so now the government has, the trash companies in the area are like, hey, we'd pay you money if we can dump our trash in this area. And so the government's like, okay. And so maybe that's why you get all these big trash piles here in this area. But you can see the old stoplights. This was a casino town. It was a parody of Las Vegas. So we have hotels, casinos. This is Ventras. So this area used to be called Las Ventras. And so we have an old post office destroyed. This is also a nice texturing effect if you're trying to texture and make a dirt path. So we have coarse dirt, regular dirt, and then this is the new one, rooted dirt. It just creates that nice texturing effect, especially from above. Just looks really nice. But yeah, it really gives off that effect of like an abandoned city. One of my favorite abandoned cities is California City, out west, that rivaled Los Angeles back in the day. And they claimed and they thought that they were going to be the next big city. They were going to beat Los Angeles in population. But obviously, that was not the case. And so today you have hundreds, if not thousands, of abandoned roadways just laid out in a grid in the desert. So it's really interesting to see. I recommend going down the rabbit hole and looking into it because it truly is interesting. So we keep going this way. Ventosa Beach, somewhere along the line, maybe right here on Ventosa Bridge, that's what it's called, is the transition into Wesson. And that's what this town is over here. So you can see we have a little intersection here. This is Algonquin Boulevard. It stretches from Wesson, goes all the way into York City. And actually at the very beginning of the video, we were on Algonquin Boulevard. So it continues on. It's one of the biggest roads in the city. This is US Highway 1A. So it's just kind of a shortcut road to get you to Wesson, and then eventually to Ventosa. There's going to be a town over here called Ventosa, and then Ventosa Beach, and then Wesson. So that's the plan there. But we have this ranch home here. This area is going to be filled with a lot of ranch homes just off the highway. It's kind of something typical you see in the Midwest where you just have ranch homes built off of the highway. So we're going to be doing that here. And it's just going to kind of signify and show, like, you know, this town is expanding. But infrastructure isn't necessarily incorporating the city infrastructure. Like, so the highway infrastructure isn't transforming into a main street infrastructure. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But the city, nonetheless, is expanding this way. So we're going to have another ranch home here, one or two right here, one here, and then this is the old highway we saw that was buried underground. This is one of the old highways that I've made. It seem like it's just fallen into the water when they destroyed it. So I like to preserve that history when I can. Same with this. This was a crossing where the old highway would cross over this road. And I kept the columns here to show that. I used chain link. Yep, I used chains to act as power lines. And these are the telephone poles. And we have street lamps as well coming off. I love this effect. It gives such a rural effect. And I really like that. It's definitely something nostalgic about that for me. And then we have this sign, kind of like a rural junction highway sign. So York City straight ahead, you go right and takes you into downtown Wesson. And so yeah, you can see how this new network is built on top of the old Las Ventras network as well. So yeah, Las Ventras was kind of expanded out this way, but these were the two primary buildings. So we've been revamping this whole area. But this is, I wouldn't say the main bridge, but there's a lot of bridges that lead into Wesson because it's kind of on this island. We go underneath. This is a rail line that I'm working on. It is the only rail line right now that's in the map. They take a lot of work to build. But this rail line is going into the main city. So that's going to continue on out to York City. And yeah, it's elevated rail going right above Wesson, which if you're a resident in this town, you're probably not going to like it because it's going to be noisy, especially on this wood overpass. If you think of the L in Chicago, think about how loud that is. It's just like, you know, it's not pleasant, but this town agreed to this elevated rail because they were told it would help the economy. But in actuality, it probably hasn't helped out the economy. So I guess it's just kind of showing how this like rail company just scammed this small town. Which, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to add like lore like that. And then eventually I think we can actually develop this company. Like, this is what I have in my head. I don't have a rail company made up yet, but once we do, we'll give them a headquarters, and yeah, it'll just be this whole lore around it. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what this is. We have our Casey's. Every small town in the Midwest has a Casey's. And of course, we got a Subway too. So, Subway over here, you know those ice machines you see? They're popping up everywhere now. You see them on like prominent corners in small towns. This is the Wesson sign. So yeah, Wesson was March 2013. Wesson was an original 2013 Minecraft generated village. And you can see I've incorporated the new urban aesthetic with this village. And we're going to get into a bit more of the lore as to why. I got a lot of lore behind this map, so yeah, just be prepared. There is actually ice in here if you want some ice. We even got packed ice in here. So the Subway parking lot opens up this way, and yep, we have Subway. This is based off of like an old 2010 Subway interior. Just brings me back. I like bringing in nostalgic aesthetic. And yeah, pretty happy with this Subway. Need to build more fast food restaurants like that. The Casey's interior, I'll show that real quick. Right now, gas is at $3.91, which is a bit pricey. But, you know, maybe, you know, gas is a bit harder to come by in this world. But yeah, so. Actually, it is, because it doesn't exist in the game. But, well, we can pretend. But this is the counter. How does this work? I have a barrier block right behind it. And so then I'm able to put this painting right there. We have, this is where all the drinks would be back behind here. And this is supposed to be like a pizza. Obviously, it just kind of looks like puke, to be honest with you a bit. I don't know what that's. It's the back of a player head. I don't know if I thought it would be like a donut or what. That's a big ass donut. But yeah, so we go back here and got the kitchen area. This is the kitchen area back here, and the maintenance can go back there, fill up the drinks. This is just a maintenance service exit. And of course, I've stopped at these bathrooms many, many times, so we got our Casey's bathroom. You're on the road, honestly, something comforting about stopping at a Casey's bathroom on the road. They're always clean. You know, you don't have to worry about any gunk in there. I don't know. It sounds weird, but like Casey's bathroom, I've been in them a ton. So, but yeah, this is our gas station. This is a custom banner I made to represent like all the components and buttons to get your gas. And over here, this is a national forest that I'm building. I do have a name in mind, but I will reveal that name once it's finished. There's going to be like an information booth right here. Or like a little like log cabin information area. And there's going to be some trails throughout this area. But basically, all of these mountains are going to be covered by these pine trees. And I've been planting all of these, and it takes a lot of time. But the outcome is going to be so rewarding, because you take a look at how lifeless this looks compared to that. It's night and day difference, truly. And Wesson is going to expand this way a bit. We're going to have another little drag, and then there's going to be a country road that's kind of weaving around that leads to the nuclear power plant. So that's how that's going to be accessible. And I've also thought about doing like a spur rail line that goes over there too to deliver goods. But that's pretty much Wesson in a nutshell. I mean, it's a small town. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in it still. But you're hit with this T-junction. The highway continues left. This highway is going to take you way out of town. And this is going to take you back into town. This is supposed to be like some graffiti here. And then this connects back up to where we were, the ranch style home. So just going to give you a quick look here. We go over this bridge and the highway continues. Historic National Road. So this highway that we're on, I built it a long time ago, but it didn't look like this. And we're going to see the original highway here in a second. We have a house out here. This is part of the old highway here on the left side, but this is kind of like an artificially built old highway. We'll see the original old highway here in a second. But the storytelling is that this was the original highway and the road was just too narrow, so they just built a wider one right next to it. This is an old trailer that's been added onto. We got some stuff in here. Bedroom. Kitchen area, a little lookout spot, and an intentional hole in the floor. This whole home is an Easter egg. I won't go into depth about it, but it is it's an inside joke. It's a reference to my life. But yeah, so we got the bathroom in here and everything. So we got a nice little trailer out here, out in the quiet countryside, right next to the National Forest. It's really not a bad spot at all. So, but you continue on. This is the rail, by the way. That's how I build my rails. But we continue on US Route 1 and we turn right. You can see this curve here on the road. It's prioritizing this right turn to continue on this highway. So we keep going and go through the intersection. And this is, I would say, the main bridge out of Wesson. And shoulder drop off. We've seen those signs before. Maybe not. They're not super common, but I thought it'd be a nice little detail to add there. This highway we're on right now, like this material. You can see how it's 3 wide. I typically do roads 4 wide now. I used to do 3 wide. So I kept the narrowness of this road to just show its oldness, I guess. You can see on the left here, this is the original highway that is 10 years old, 10 plus years old. And it was more so of like a walking path or like a trail. And then you can see the minecart line underneath. And so that was the old infrastructure and how it connected the map around in all the cities. You have that here on the side with all these old bridges. That's something you'll see in the US. You'll look out, you'll be like, why is there an old bridge here? And it's because the old highway. If you look at US Highway 50, this is something you see a lot. And it was the perfect opportunity. I was like, instead of destroying this, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to tell that story. And the funny thing is, it wasn't like an inauthentic story. Like, this is an authentic story I'm telling that accurately reflects the history of the map, which I think is cool. That's the rail line. The rail line, by the way, is reusing old infrastructure. So instead of me destroying this is how I used to do interstate highways back in the day. Instead of completely destroying it, I'm reusing it to build this rail line. And so this is an old nuclear power plant. I actually moved it. It used to be like right in the center of the city. Moved it out here, and it needs reworked and added onto. So it's just sitting over here. And then this is an old research laboratory that needs reworked as well. I may just end up making this be an abandoned lab. Like put vines on the building and things of that nature. Yeah, so put vines on the building, make it look like an abandoned place. I think that's what the plan is. But you can see for the most part under here, I don't have the girders or beams built out just yet, but we have this riverfront highway. This is still Route 1, and we have all the proper signage here, all the little details. I just love the little details. I'm going to build a lighthouse right there, like a functional lighthouse. I think that'll be really cool. But yeah, there's a little bit of that old minecart rail that used to run around the city. This one's going to be staying there, just to show that history. See the girders. I built the girders up over here, but just haven't on this side yet. This is the start of the York City Loop, by the way, the other start. We saw the bridge, the big truss bridge. That's, I guess you could say, where it ends. This is where it starts. So we have this big trumpet interchange, and this is the start of the loop that's going to loop all the way around to connect back up to that bridge, which is over there in that area. And then if you stay on this highway, this takes you to a junction in the middle of the city. And we have an advertisement, 103.5, that's a notable radio station in the town. That's also a reference to my life, radio station I always used to listen to when I was in high school. But yeah, I guess an inside joke, a meme, something like that. But just those references, I think it just adds character to your map. Over here, this is an original Minecraft OG generated village. This one is not going to have an intervention. And so this kind of goes into the lore of the city, of the map, that these generated villages are like the indigenous, like native people of the area. And this is like modern society, as modern society is built out. Basically, everybody that lives here, the indigenous people who live here, this is like their plot of land, and they don't want to be a part of this modern society. So they're like isolating themselves, and I plan on revamping this village, though. I'm going to make it look like a proper medieval village. And so it's like these indigenous people, it's like similar to the Amish, they don't necessarily embrace all of this new technology. So they're isolating themselves from it. And over here in Wesson, they had the same situation. They were part of the indigenous people, but they decided to embrace new society and new technology. And so that's why you see the incorporation into that village. And this one you don't. So that's going to be a part of the lore as well. Kind of a cool addition here. This is a nice little home over here. Nice little ranch home. He's got a tractor here, and he's making honey. He's a honey farmer. You can see that the water is also orange. It's just like a potion. It's like the water is dyed orange. You can do that. Got a nice covered bridge to nowhere. I'm going to eventually add to that. But we have billboards. It's like one of those insurance billboards. Or not insurance, like lawsuit billboards, and then the Whataburger advertisement. So we have this interchange here. This takes us back into Eastside, so now we're technically back in York City. This is the manor, and it's pretty low quality. It's old, very old. I'm not destroying it, but I would love to revamp it. And now we're kind of back to where we started here. We're back on Algonquin here. There's the football field. We have a couple other homes that I didn't really show, like some bungalow style homes. This one especially, not so much this one. The carport. But this is another main entrance into the city right here. Whenever you see this big billboard that says York City, that's like symbolizing that main entrance, as well as this bridge does a good job at acting as a gate. This is, of course, the Whataburger. And another ice machine. But yeah, so this bridge here takes you directly into town. I had thought about just slicing through the city with this highway. I really did. But I think it would corrupt and disturb this old area too much, so I never did. Just had it turn off instead. Underneath the highway, we have like pallet storage and shipping container storage. Not really the most beautiful thing to see, but it is stuff you see in the real world. So I thought I would add something like that. We have these decent homes over here. In Eastside, they're really, truly decent homes. Under this overpass, this is Main Street we're going under. We do have graffiti under here and some massive potholes. And this is a big house here on the side. And one of my favorite features about this house is not only like this exposed structure up here, but this view, like how this part of the home just kind of goes over this lake, and it's really nice. Of course, this bridge is old as well. That bridge is like 11 years old. So this is a cool house in that way. I like it. It is a bit unrealistic that it's the only house at the end of this cul-de-sac, but hey, end of the day, it's Minecraft. Like, you want to build something, even if it's not super realistic or relating to real life, why not? You can kind of create, like, why not create your own typology? You can do that sometimes. You can just make something up. And I think that's what's really powerful about this game. This is Twin Oaks Park. The name is misleading because there's no twin oak trees. But basically, we got a gazebo, some green space, and tennis courts. And who owns this park? The grade school, which is right here. They own the park. And this grade school is old, just like that high school, but also just like that high school, I want to revamp it. Just like that one. I think it'd make for a fun episode even, just, upgrading this building from 2014 to 2025. I think that'd be a really cool video. This is Steamton Avenue, and this is a sight to see. I do want to show you guys this. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but keep remembering stuff. This is a nature preserve, and I love this area in the city. So you're in the city, but you're not in the city, and it just gives this really nice this view that just really captures the skyline, like, this beautiful skyline, which is just awesome. And you can take this path out back here, and connects back up to the city. And yeah, it's really fun. This is US 1, so Steamton Avenue turns into US 1. But we have this, turns into this asymmetrical road, and we have this grand tunnel that is the threshold between the countryside or rural area to York City. I wanted it to act as that gate, And like old Roman times, you saw that there was a gate that entered every city. And how can you do that in a modern way? I think a tunnel or a bridge does that perfectly. So that is what I tried to do. But you can see we got a McDonald's right there. You get a McDouble maybe. Take a quick break, get a McDouble. But yeah, no, this continues on. I'm expanding this road, I'm widening it out. You can see right here. So this part's going to be taken over by the new road, but I think that's fine. I really want the roads to be cohesive. This is an old way. This is the old way I used to do roads, and I really want this area to be cohesive, right? So this is Main Street. Again, that black, those black trusses over there, that's the truss bridge we were on previously. You can kind of see Ventosa Beach over there. I tell you what, when you put the render distance on like 100, you can literally see everything, which is super cool. But just want to give my computer a break here. That's another reason why I'm not on RTX either. It's because I knew this would be a long video, and I don't want to put my computer through that. So it would get really hot. I don't want it to get hot. But yeah, this is the grade school parking lot. And of course we got Taco Bell right here. There is an interior. Let's peek inside. Yep, the seating in there. The order. The menu up there. Got some big bathrooms in Taco Bell. Because let me tell you what. You're going to need these bathrooms after you eat Taco Bell. That's all I'm saying. So I made sure to put 2 big bathrooms in Taco Bell. Across the street, this is the print shop. And so this is where I make all of my custom banners in the world. Instead of just like doing it out in the open, I thought, why not make a proper place to do it? Even if it's just creative mode, like why not? So you can see the fire department of York City Police Department. These are the arrows I have on the highways. The parking, I experimented with a different way to make stoplights. Just some artwork that I've made with banners. The globe, Star Wars, creeper banners, Mojang, a masonry pattern, and these flags. So this is the United Sovereignty flag. This is the Eastside flag. And this is the York City flag. So these are like the prominent flags in the area that you will see. Of course, the American flag here, and another stoplight iteration. But yeah, so this is where I come to experiment and make banners. I've got all my stuff in here. It's where I have all the lettering: Whataburger, Taco Bell, pizzeria signs. Yeah, every single banner I've ever made is somewhere in this place, in these chests. But yeah, so this is where I make the banners. Okay, so let's get out of there. We have the ped walk right here. Let's go over that. Follow the laws of the city, even though it doesn't look like anybody's out right now. What is this building? This building stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? This is a Russian brutalist building, Russian brutalist style building. And it is a biolab. So inside, I haven't really filled up with experiments or anything yet, but I plan on filling up these rooms. This is the big lobby. You go up the egress stairs. This is going to lead down to like a hidden basement where they do secret experiments. This level there's going to be a botany lab, an aquatic lab, and just a general bio lab up here. So that's what this building is. Wanted to build a brutalist building in Minecraft because there's surprisingly really not many in this world. And so this is actually based off of a real building, and I forget what it's called, but it's on one of the Arctic Monkeys album covers, and that was the inspiration. I saw that, and I was like, yeah, I'm building that. I'm making the connection to the album cover directly. So we have garages, we have storage here in the back, And this is going to be the parking garage, underground parking garage. This is one of the old train stations, and I've preserved it, and it's just kind of like a ruins now. And this is for a faster train ride. I used to drink potion of swiftness and then make the minecart go faster. I don't know if that's even accurate, but I thought it was. So yeah, look, closed Department of Transportation. So yeah, it's just kind of funny adding those little things like that. Obviously, this is a secure area, so only authorized personnel can get in. Old abandoned apartments. These were old, built 10 years ago. But I didn't want to destroy them, so I made them abandoned. It adds that bit of realism to cities. This is a cool little area. This is also really old, but it's still functional, I guess. It's just a place to have a campfire in the middle of the city. The views are kind of obstructed because of this hotel here, but nonetheless, it's still a cool little spot. Main Street, we keep going. We turn right here, we have some more ruins. And this is the Bureau of Meteorology Research Center. And so it's a big research campus with a visitor center right here. And this is a big presentation room, and they're giving tours of the facility. This is the main building, which houses the meteorology lab inside of here. You can see all these, they kind of look like big servers, but really is a way for me to experiment. So a long time ago, probably like 8 years ago, I was genuinely curious if there was some kind of pattern in Minecraft's weather system. If like there is a repeating weather pattern, or if it was just programmed to be random. So I was like, yeah, let's just do an experiment. So I did. These are real Minecraft days and nights that I just sat and I just recorded when it rained, when it didn't rain, when there's thunderstorms. I only did one trial. It was one Minecraft month. And the conclusion is that it's completely random. Maybe if I did the other trials, there could have been some repeating patterns, but just got kind of burnt out doing that. But it's cool to have that here, to part of that history, and it really shows that, you know, this building functioned, like it legitimately functioned as what it was, which is cool to see. Downstairs here, this is the big office building, building 2. This is where a lot of the office work gets done for this place. Employees got this big cafeteria with bathrooms, of course, back here. And they got some soda machines, a jukebox, maintenance closet, I think. This is reception, and then human resources, which this area is just super ironic because, you know, it's about like bettering that human experience and like making people feel comfortable, yet there's 0 windows. It's dark, it's filled with this fluorescent lighting. So I thought that irony was funny. But you can continue up here and there's just a lot of offices, and instead of me walking all the way up there, which I would do, it's just going to add a lot of time though. These floors are mostly the same. You can see there's offices in here. The top floor, this is the break room. I believe there's a roof access, is there not? Yeah, there is. I think it's behind a metal door, but we'll just place that back when we're done. An old map of the city. This is crazy. Okay, this kind of gives you a little perspective. I probably should have saved this map. But you can see this old map here. What used to be where we just were. This is where the print shop is. Right here. And Taco Bell is right here. So you can see the map looked like. It's been terraformed completely. So a lot has changed. We can just click on it. Why not? You can see how all that's changed. I'm getting sidetracked, but I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. You can watch. You can see how all this changes. It's crazy. That's just insane how all this has changed. You can see Twin Peaks Park. You can see the print shop. And, yeah, everything is there. It's super cool. I do have older saves of this map, so if I ever want to go back and be nostalgic, I can. But even all this is inaccurate, but that's all right. But you can just see how all that has changed, which is awesome. It's awesome to see. Reception, floor 4. There's just a random duck in here. This is the CEO's office. Skylight. Got a really nice, big, expansive office with a personal coat closet. Yeah. Definitely have made it if you have an office like that. This is like a conference room / break room. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this office. A lot of the stuff... Oh, did not go in the maintenance room. A lot of the stuff is repeating, like the furniture, so that's why I'm kind of flying through that. You could consider this a brutalist building, definitely, but a completely different brutalist style than that one over there. That's more of a traditional brutalist style, or like Russian brutalism. This is more like American brutalism. If you know the Boston City Hall, I'd say that's a good comparison to this one. This is a forklift design. This isn't my design, by the way. It's I'll link him in the description below. YouTuber that I watch. And this is the warehouse. It's where they store everything for their experiments. And yeah, they got everything. They got maintenance closet. They got the manager warehouse operations. Honestly, this would be a chill job. Can't lie. We got a Fox in here. This is where I used to do banners out of here. And that finally I was just like, we're making a proper place to do these banners. I don't want to do it in a building that's not meant to be for that, you know? Don't want to do it. Of course, this is McDonald's. One of the things, this is so anti what I would do now. No public restroom. To be honest, I think that's illegal. I don't even think you can do that. But I wasn't just putting that sign to be lazy. There actually is a restroom in here, and it's only for the employees. I don't know why I did that, because I literally could have had a door right here and just taken out one table, but I keep it there. It's kind of a funny meme, so keep it there. McDonald's, definitely one of my favorite restaurants. I can't lie to you. This is the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, and this is where they plan out the roads. This is where all happens. And this building here, this is where I also house all of my highway signs in this building. So all these chests have, I guess these are just blocks, like barrier blocks. But yeah, I house all the highway signs. I have an ender chest as well. Oh, did I delete something? Okay, good. Thought I deleted something. But yeah, we have this little atrium space here, and you can actually take these steps down here. Let's go down just to check it out. So why not? This is kind of gives you a big grandiose picture of the York City Metro, York City greater area, and we are right here, Urban Planning Office. There's Eastside. This is Ventosa Beach. I need to get maps to cover this area. And Wesson too. I would just like this whole area to be covered, so you can see the main metro. But yeah, we haven't seen all of this. There's a lot left to see, but I think If you're still hanging on there, you're still watching the video, I hope you enjoy it. I know this has been a rant and a half, but there's just a lot to unpack here. This map is huge. I'd like to get it all in one video. But yeah, so let's get back into it. This is the start of the York City Loop, and that highway is going to go here, circle here, you kind of see a little bit of it there, go over the bay, and then connect back up over here. This is where Little Panama is. We saw that artificial island, and then the loop connects back this way. So it's like 3/4 of a circle loop. And you will see that in cities, and a lot of times it's because they plan the project out in phases, and the last phase they realize maybe it's not relevant to do this last phase. Maybe it's just not needed. So, you'll see that a lot of times. That's the Urban Regional Planning Office, and this is the City Hall. That's why this is right next to that. And then over here is a government, so like city-funded architecture and engineering division. And this is like a main atrium space here. So this is where, in my head, like where they pin up, like there's like rolling walls, like I forget what they're called, but you roll these walls out and you can pin up drawings. And so in my head, I'm like, this is where the public can come in and see new projects this city is working on, and what's going to come about. And it just kind of hypes up, I guess, like the general public can come in and get excited about what's going to be added to the city. And this allows that to be very open to the public to see what the city is working on. This is a higher up office right here. I really like how I did this. I don't know why that's open. Desk here, filled with detail. And here I kind of experiment with materials in this closet. I just like take a look at materials and maybe I want to use this material for a new building. Has that nice like brutal look to it, or maybe this one has that modern look. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I use this closet for. A lot of these buildings do have functions. They're not just for show. So I like to do that when I can. This is across the street. This is the York City Police Department. This is where they park all their vehicles. And the police station is right here, right adjacent to the City Hall. And we have the United Sovereignty flag and the York City flag. And York City Police Department. Go in, grand atrium. And so this building is kind of representative of I would say this is like an Art Deco style building. But on the interior, it references the Art Deco tone a little bit, but for the most part, it's like a contemporary atrium here. So the thought is that they've come in later and they've renovated the interior to be more modern. And we do have some offices down here, but they aren't completely filled in. This is going to lead down to the jail cells, the holding cells down there. This is the interrogation room with the two-way mirror, one-way mirror. And upstairs we have two precincts. We have right here, we have this office, and the other side is an exact mirrored copy of this. We have two, I think one's a break room, one's like a main office for a captain, and then there's just going to be general office space on the main floor. This is the town square of York City, the main town square. What you're looking at is the York City Courthouse, and this build, it really shows how fast the time flies, because when I built this building, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm trying to purposely make this building look old and historical, even though it's brand new. But I said that in 2018 when I built this. So I would definitely say this is an historic building in this city now, which is pretty crazy. It's just, how fast time flies by. This is the cinema here. And these lights are programmed to go around, but I need to do a different method because the method I have now lags up the world when it's turned on. This is a little bar called the Venue. And come in here, we have bar seating up here. There's no detail in the back, sadly, but for the most part, all the detail is done. We have stage here for performers, for the music, the live music, and so you can kind of go in here at the stage entrance. I like this. Can I combine that entrance with the maintenance room? This is an office, and there are bathrooms. You take this up, this floor is all office, and then the floors above that are all apartments. So this is a reference to The Office, Michael Scott Paper Company. Fortunately, it's not filled in. And over here we have a weed shop called the Grass Station. And it is also not filled in, but I do have like the aesthetics built up for the interior design, I guess, but there's just no furniture. So that's something that I need to do. This is a cool little outlook. But this is the big corner building. Let's go out the main entrance. This is Main Street right here. Remember seeing Main Street when we were way down there in Eastside? So this road slices through the city. The cinema, we'll take a quick peek in here. Those are those Star Wars banners that I did. Right now it's a single theater with double heighted seating. But the issue is when you're up here, you really can't see the screen, especially when you're back here. So what I'm gonna do is just make this two separate theaters, one up top, one at the bottom. I think that's gonna be better and honestly more economical for the theater itself if it were to actually function like a theater. This is a clothing store. I'm gonna put like armor stands and stuff in here to show them off through the windows, but there's no furniture built in here, so we won't look in there. We'll look at the first floor of the City Hall building, and we have York City colors. This is like the main reception area. We get on York City flag, United Sovereignty flag. The staircase goes all the way up to the council chamber, which we're just gonna fly up there because the staircase is pretty horrid, if I'm being honest with you. This is the council chamber. So this is where they get everything done in York City. This is where they talk about new projects, new things that they want in the city. And yeah, based off of a real building. It's the Champaign Illinois City building. That is what this building is based off of. And the courthouse is another one where it's, at least with this one, the interior you can see how it's slightly dated. I will say that. It's not planned out properly like how it should be. The exterior has stood the test of time, in my opinion. But I will show you a little bit of the interior here in the courthouse. The main hall, like, this is fine, right? I mean, the main hall is fine, but the way these stairs are put in, not really a huge fan of. This courtroom's fine. It's just a bit dark. I wish I would have used a different tone of wood. This is the main courtroom, which is a double-heighted courtroom, double-seated courtroom. This was inspired by the book To Kill a Mockingbird when they had their big courtroom case. I believe in the book it was a big courtroom just like this. So that was the inspiration there. The upper floors, it's just another floor really similar to this. And then the upper floors are just offices. And then the tower on top is accessible. That is a fake balcony. This is a real balcony. But let's go to the other one. This one's better, please. So this is a real balcony you can go to. Not open to the public, obviously, but you do get stunning views of the skyline. And future, soon-to-be skyline over there. So it's a really nice building. I love the courthouse. I like the orange color. It stands out. It's bold. I was originally going to do a brick courthouse. Just like a red brick courthouse, but, you know, I think this definitely makes it stand out. This is a cartography firm, and which you don't really see them anymore, but this is Lloyd Cartography, and this is Maynard Lloyd. And so you go upstairs, and we have these cartography studios where they are drawing the maps of York City. So a little bit of storytelling there on how we get the maps that we have in the city. Over here we have a gun store. Obviously there's no guns in vanilla Minecraft, but I kind of set this up like a GTA gun shop. You can see though it's just Minecraft weapons in here in the display case. But you do have a shooting range up here, and so you come up here with your bow and shoot that. So this is a cool little, you know, they're patriotic. They got the nation flag up there. So parking meters. I hate parking meters, but you know, city has to make money somehow. And then this is the fire department, which a lot of effort was put into this, especially building these fire engines. They were not easy to build. But you have this catwalk up here, and then the fire pole. There's fire, take that down. Got license plates. And this takes us to the office area of the fire department right here. And bathroom. More offices. Up here is the living quarters. They got a pool table, kitchen, and big bedroom with a personal bathroom. So this was a cool build. Had a lot of fun with this one. And I like to use this like deep red brick, which just symbolizes that it's a fire station. We have an architecture firm right there. And there's apartments up here. This area, this building is called the Grove. It's kind of like a high-end apartment building. That's my TV. But I did do all these interiors. Bedrooms and everything. Look at that view. Wouldn't that be cool? So, yeah. High-end apartment building. And downstairs there's the Grove. Downstairs they have a restaurant that I'm currently working on. No tables yet, but this is just a big restaurant down here. And now we're back to the nature preserve right here. That's somewhat in the middle of town. But this is the transition. That's when we came in on Route 1 a long time ago. This is a lower end apartment complex, which is still really cool. It reminds me of like something you'd see in New York or Chicago. And interiors with everything, of course. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind living in this place either. You still get a view. It's not highlighted like the other one is architecturally, but you do get a view. Bathroom, get a window in a bathroom, which is a little odd, but front bedroom. This is a cool room. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of these apartment buildings in this area. And they're not super unique looking. They're not super significant, but we do need to fill out this area. So there's going to be a lot of townhouses, apartments like this, just kind of filling out this area. Continue down this street. We have this showing that there's a fire station. We continue down this street. We have the cathedral. And you can tell it's a cathedral because it is crucifix in form. You can see the plan view. You can see how it's a crucifix. And yeah, this was a cool build. Got a big, look at this. Just look at these arches up here. The big chandelier, piano, altar. Yeah, like just, and this is where the priest lives in the back there. And this is a small little cemetery back here. This is an old Minecraft meme. If you know, you know. And yeah, this is the high school I'm currently building. Built in this classical style. Huge. This is like the main York City high school. That one was the Eastside High School. This is the like main high school. Interior is not built in yet, so you can see this is a more recent build, but you can see the vision back here. This whole open area is where the football field is going to be. Down here, this is Ellis Avenue, I believe, and we have a train line that goes underneath the road. So the train line that we saw way over there, a part of it is going to connect up to this. And this is right here, the main park of the city. You call it like Memorial Park, something like that, where it's just commemorating the 10-year anniversary of York City. And so that's what the statue is commemorating. We have the double heads. It's looking at the future while still acknowledging the past of York City. So that's what the statue is. Got some reading here. 10 years. And now we're already at 12. And before you know it, it's going to be 20, which is just insane. But this building here is the York City History Museum and York City Public Library. It's a two-in-one deal. And this is the History Museum side. Let's go in. Main front desk. I tried getting a librarian villager, but he just kept escaping and didn't want to mess with the way this looks to prevent him from leaving. But here's the map once again of York City. Where are we? Right here in this building. And you can see here, courthouse, town square, everything in between. Our last stop is going to be this area. And then we're going to, after that, the tour will be over. So if you're still listening, thank you for listening. Like I said earlier in this video, I know that I'm going on a rant, but there is a lot of content to show. So this is the lore behind York City. Feel free to pause and read if you want. But it just gives a background of how this city came to be. And keep in mind, I wrote this lore when I was like 12 years old, so it's not the most logical, I guess. It kind of pulls off of like some fantasy stuff, but I think that's what's cool, and I've kept the story alive, and the city has been built up after the story. And so feel free to pause and read any of this. Throughout the map, and we're gonna see one, I have hidden books around the map, and you can read them. They're like diaries or journal entries from citizens, and they are meant to be the start of like quests that are around the world, and you can like try to solve these mysteries for people and try to discover and figure out this story, because the story is very nuanced, and so there's a lot of gaps in the story, and so the like quests that you do are meant to fill those gaps and figure out why, so that's really what this map is about. I mean, the storytelling, right? Like, that's what I said, like the storytelling. I mean, we have right here this is the original layout of York City, and it's just kind of its own architectural exhibit. We can go down the stairs into the basement and see the first house of York City, which we will see in real life, not just in this exhibit. Some buildings over time, some that are destroyed, some that are still there. A view. This is the district of Oldtown, and that'll be one of the last ones we see here on this tour. Restrooms in there. You can go upstairs. This is another exhibit floor that is not filled in. This is going to be more about the history of the nation. So down there, it's more the history of the city and how the city came to be. This is going to be the history of the nation and how the nation came to be. And it's going to be talking about the lore of the indigenous tribes and everything like that. Up here it's going to be a more like relaxed part of the museum. You can lounge out, hang out. Yeah, that's what this area is going to be. You have this really nice skylight that comes in. And you can walk over the sky bridge, get a nice on-axis view of the statue and of the courthouse. And you can walk over to the York City Public Library, which up here is just a big research area, computers, and then you have these little reading nooks in here as well. Continue down here, we'll get into the stacks. And so you can see all of the bookshelves in here. It's absolutely crammed and populated with bookshelves with an enchantment table. And we go back over here. There's some like hidden research areas as well in the stacks that you can find. The ground level is the same deal. Stacks go a bit taller. This is the main entrance you walk in to find the book you need. And I'm going to continue the stairs to go down to a basement to like a big multi-level archives, city archives. Just have like a bunch of old information, some classified, some declassified, but yeah, that's going to be an Easter egg. But yeah, I wanted to preserve this axis here. So this concept, we have this classical building, but the architectural concept is preserving this axis and connecting this statue to the town square, literally and metaphorically. So it is connecting the past and the future and vice versa. We have an urban amphitheater here. This is open to street performers, or it can be booked for like a proper live music band. And yeah, this would just be really cool to be on the town square and experience something like this in a real city. I thought given the awkward plot of land that this sits on, initially I was like, well, I could just build a triangular skyscraper, but then I thought this would be a lot more valuable. And, creating that sense of community. This axis right here goes straight to the Capitol building. This is the United Sovereignty Capitol building, and it's reminding you, it's saying, yes, you're in York City. York City is important, but the government, the federal government, is still here. Like, it still has this prominent presence. And so that's like what it's kind of like this power. It's like power through architecture type thing. So that's what it's trying to symbolize and show. Also, it's just beautiful to look at. I love axes. So it's inspired by Washington, D.C. in that way. This is a building I designed in architecture school and decided to recreate it in Minecraft. One of my favorite parts about this building is that we have this courtyard here, tiny little courtyard with the sunlight, the natural sunlight coming in, the sun shaft, with this cherry blossom tree. And the thought is, no matter where you are in the building, you can see this tree and you can just automatically know what season it is based on looking at this tree. So, obviously these trees are always stuck in spring in Minecraft, but like if it's pink like this, it's spring. It's just a cool aspect with the green roof, and this helps with like drainage of water. It helps with retaining the heat or retaining the cool air inside the building. There's a lot of benefits to green roofs. The one adjacent is just a standard roof. I've kind of created this like stained water effect, like water eroding effect here on the roof with the HVAC equipment. These are all apartments on top, and on the left, this is the lobby to the apartments. That's where the mail room is going to be. And then to the right, we have this record store. And the record store, I like the record store a lot. It is a fun interior build. We have every single music disc in the game laid out here. This is another statue, and this was inspired by, forget what it's called, but it was at the original Twin Towers. And since we have two World Trade Center here that hasn't been built yet, and one World Trade Center that is built on the other side, thought I would do something to reference that, the original Twin Towers. This is the end of the axis. You can see it's still incomplete, still work in progress, and you can tell by these tennis courts as well. This used to be a park, but I moved that park over, which is Twin Oaks Park over there. So I moved it, I didn't destroy it, but in its place is the Capitol building. Just grand. It just has this grand vibe to it, like huge columns, big steps. Walking in, you see the rotunda and Oculus, because this is technically open to the elements outside. So it's just absolutely massive, and I could just look at this all day. It's really mesmerizing to look at. But this is a building where the architecture from the outside really translates into the interior. And that's something that I've gotten better at the more I play Minecraft. Definitely takes a lot more time when you do that, but the result is worth it. I have nearly every room complete, but the furniture in every room is a different story. This is the congressional chamber, and yeah, this is where they make decisions on a level above the council. And so, yeah, just like the United States Capitol. And then the other side is another chamber, a lot smaller. But yeah, the colors are representative of the nation flag, and it's just all a symbol of government. Really fun build. I love this too. You can just see like the axis on this road. I love it. Again, like I said, this is 2 World Trade Center. The floors are not put in yet. And this is a parking garage. Really old parking garage. We have an apartment building here based off of a real life apartment building. Then we have like a classical apartment building here. We have a bank and apartments on top. This is the York City Post Office. And we go inside the post office, we can take a look at upstairs. This is where you see some of the lore going on. It's in this chest. You have Evet's beginnings. And, got to figure out who Evet is. So, like, through reading this stuff, you figure out who he is, why he's significant. And, maybe in the future we have a video where I really just dive into that lore. But a lot of storage. And, it makes you wonder, why is this office, like, poorly maintained, right? Makes you question why stuff is, and encourages you to look into the lore of the city. So, the post office, it's right there. This is the bank. I'll show you one thing in the bank. I won't show you the apartment buildings up top because they're really nothing special. But actually, let's just break this. So this is the vault right here. And flip the switch. And the vault opens. We have all kinds of valuables in here. And you can see these vents up here. There is a way that somebody can come in and rob this bank. So did that on purpose to kind of like show some storytelling of, the vulnerability of this bank, I guess. I will show you that just real quick since I mentioned it. But you come up here, you have this secondary lobby for the apartment complex. And you go in this maintenance closet here. You go down, again, you see all the redstone. You see these vents. Well, take the ladder down. What do you see? You see the vault. And so, if you were to plan a heist, that is where you would get in, and that's where you would get all of the material. The best way to do it? I don't know. Maybe the owner is plotting to rob the bank, but so to continue down here, we have a pizzeria right here. Real quickly, we just have a standard interior pizzeria, and we have an apartment on top, and this is where the owner lives, right on top. Just a little pizzeria. Right here is the Redstone Research Center. And this is where they research everything about redstone. We have this nice grand lobby here. Tons of foxes. To be honest with you, I don't know how they got in here, but they're obsessed with this fish that's in here. They want that fish. So just kind of keep it because it's funny. But instead of going through this labyrinth of a building, I'm going to bust out the glass. This is one of the labs in this building. See, simple mechanisms, and that's what they're experimenting with here. And every lab kind of has its own specialization of what's being researched. This is a big cafeteria area, and for the workers, and it's cool because you get the best views. I mean, truly really cool views, especially just imagine all this filled in, all those roads out there. You can just imagine all the future development that's going to happen in the city. Keep going up, This is the main observation deck, open to the public, with, again, a big glass dome on top, and open to the public. This is definitely a beautiful sight to see. This would be a cool building to visit IRL if it existed. Kind of has this Art Deco design. I don't know. You can almost say it's like a mix of Art Deco and contemporary forms. You could say Neo Art Deco, maybe. I don't know. You can go over here, and we've seen all of this. We've seen the Capitol. There's another look from the outside. Truly, just such a massive, massive building. I mean, this building took a long time. That's not even finished yet. So, this is the road into Oldtown, and this is one of the big projects I'm working on now, is incorporating Oldtown with Newtown. And so, we have like a Coca-Cola Pepsi ad on this building. This building is really old. It's actually the first skyscraper in the city. And have an old McDonald's here. A lot of this is going to be revamped. These skyscrapers, old, very old. This is the original York City courthouse. You can just tell the scale, how different it is from the new orange one. This is the architectural HQ. I have offices up there, like me and my friends do. This is the York City High School Memorial. Before the high school moved to Eastside, this is where the high school was, right in the center of town, and it is destroyed, unfortunately, but we do have an old high school museum where you can look at the old high school, and there's even old teachers that are trapped in there. But, so it's kind of a funny little Easter egg. And an old bank. An old McDonald's. This is an old Steak and Shake. I claimed it to be an old dentist's office. The old Union Station. Very small in scale. I mean, scale-wise, I have definitely gotten bigger. And it's an old bakery. Community center. So I want to revitalize a lot of these buildings and truly incorporate it into the new city. You can see I'm doing that here with the One World Trade Center. It's a work in progress. But I think when it's done, this is going to be one of the coolest parts of the city. Initially, I was going to tunnel under this. We're not going to do that. We're going to move these buildings over here to where this is. Because I've already moved that one out of town. And we're gonna destroy this one, move these over here, so that way this road can continue and connect to the widening of the street. This is Route 1, and I'm gonna move these buildings over. It's gonna be a process, but I have a cool vision in my head for this area. But this is the first home in York City. Like, this is it. First thing I built on this map was just like a humble farmhouse, and this looks so bad because I changed texture packs, but you can see the original. This gate has been open for 12 years, so I don't close it. But yeah, this is it, the original house, and I used to come out here and just look up at everything and start building. But this is the original neighborhood. First neighborhood, I call it the oldest zone in York City. This is an old entrance to an old basketball stadium I had. This is the President's Manor, which it's a play off of the White House, but I'm kind of trying to stray away from like the direct references to Washington, D.C. So that's why that's moved out of town. And a lot of these are going to be built. This is the original Capitol building. You can see the difference, the sheer difference. So instead of destroying this one, I think it's also going to be buried underground. It's just going to turn into some kind of museum. We have the Steve Memorial here. And we have this tower bridge, this tower truss bridge going over here to this side of town, which is also old, but part of the revamp. This is the Steve Memorial Library. Kind of look inside here. We might take a quick peek. There is an Easter egg. So we have some stacks here. What happens if you turn this? Nothing. What happens if you turn it? Again. Surely it'll open up soon. Dude, what? Wait, I'm looking at the wrong spot. There we go. Okay, you turn it once, and this opens up. And it opens up to a hidden area where there's just hidden books. It's kind of a maze. It's a labyrinth, but there's some Easter eggs in here, some hidden chests. Dude, I honestly don't know where I am. Okay, yeah, let's get out of there before we get lost. But yeah, just a little Easter egg. If you couldn't tell, I like Easter eggs. I like lore like that. This is a nice restaurant here. Kind of picture it some kind of Mexican restaurant. And I love this view. Come out here to the patio and yeah, just look at the city. I mean, beautiful views. That would be where I'm booking a reservation for sure. We have an apartment building here. Even this, I thought of the views like this little tiny apartment, right? It's not much, but you do get this makeshift balcony, which is not even a proper balcony, it's a fire escape, but you do get one. And you do get that view. So, I mean, that view is priceless, so it's a cool aspect about this building. This is like an old New York style diner, and this was a fun one. Inspired by the game Mafia 2, if you've ever played that game. And this is Route 1. This goes way out of town. This is where the loop is right here. This needs redone, but this is where it's going to connect up to. This is an old, like, lower class neighborhood, but they do have this burger joint. It's called Master Burger. Where's the sign? Where is it? Somewhere. Oh, it's over here. Is it? Yeah, Master Burger. So this little burger shack looks really good. You know they got good burgers here. Right in the middle of this residential area, which I think is fine. But yeah, you can see there's an open lot, pink house here. There's going to be a small port over here. And then this is where the Bay Bridge is going to be. See Scoot Island over there? That's where the Bay Bridge is going to go over. This is Capitol Hills. That's what this neighborhood is called. We have a home here. I do like this house a lot. We have a proper mirror, Minecraft mirror. Basically, it's just duplicated this bathroom on the other side and mirrored it to give the illusion that it's actually a real mirror. But some of my friends, I just let my friends build houses on here. This is 2014 Forest Hills Drive. If you know, you know. You get the reference. Yep. And back here, got a nice view of the lake. The quaint log cabin over there. Really cool. like a forest within the city almost. I think it's cool how those boundaries are blurred. Got another house. This was called the Crew Mansion. Another friend's house. Some more homes here. And, you know, there might be a couple other buildings. It's possible I could have missed something. I do want to show this real quick. There's a comedy club in the city. And go up here. Sean's Comedy Club. So this is kind of cool. Me and my friends used to come on here and we used to do like, just all kinds of like, we would just do comedy skits, and then it was fun. It was fun, definitely. Definitely a nostalgic place for me. There's supposed to be a bar up here, but there's not. There's a lot of work to do in this map, for sure. You go over here, we have a restaurant. This is like a high-end, more high-end restaurant. Yeah. The kitchen, and then we have this door. This leads into the old bowling alley. So this used to be the entrance of the bowling alley, and I did not destroy it. This is also the old bowling alley. You can see these lights would have been above the lanes, bowling lanes, but it turned into this big lobby space of this orange building. It's like really skinny skyscraper. So I guess that has to do with like the conservation that I do with old buildings. Instead of destroying them, if I can't move it somewhere else, I'll conserve it, or I'll preserve it in a way that makes it look abandoned like that. Just give it that, you know, second life. An old tunnel, but basically the plan is right here, this widened road is going to go straight over all this. There's not going to be a tunnel. It's going to go straight through this way. But, you know, this is just kind of a big overview. I'm sure there's a lot that I've missed in this map. There's just a lot to go over. It's truly a massive city. But I did the best I could. I know this video is like 2 hours long now at this point, so I don't want to keep talking. But I do appreciate if you made it to the end. I appreciate you tuning in and coming along with this journey with me, taking a tour of my 12-year-old map. There's still a lot to do in the city. Like, truly, there is a lot of work to do. And if you want to come along the journey with me, subscribe. I will be uploading Let's Plays here and then. I need to get into like a consistent schedule. But I would like to film every time I come on here and build and do a little bit of post-com and some time lapses of what I'm doing. There's a lot to do. You can tell over here, planning out some new roads. So, you know, the city isn't done yet, but it is getting there. Definitely. There's so much I want to do with this map, but yeah, that is all I've got. I really appreciate, like I said, really appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the tour, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.